I got that dreaded phone call from my mother that she had been diagnosed with cancer. And the worst part about hearing the news is she was thousands of miles away at the time. And I couldn't just jump on a plane as much as I wanted to, but I wanted her to know how much I loved her and cared for her. And I was just gutted. And I thought, what do you send someone who's sick? Chicken soup. I got online, I couldn't find any. And tragically, 6 weeks later, I lost her. And I would literally wake up at night after that, wondering, why isn't there anyone doing this? I just felt so hopeless. I wanted to do something to be there for her and show her how much I cared. And finally, I just decided that I was going to pour my grief into, at the time, I don't know that I even would have called it a company. And I thought, what better way to honor her than to help others in the same situation that I was in?
Welcome to Linda's Corner, where we bring more hope, healing, and happiness to the world. My name is Linda Bjork, and today we're going to be talking about turning passion into purpose. I'm delighted to welcome Marti Wymer. Marti is the founder and CEO of Spoonful of Comfort. You can reach Marti at her website, spoonfulofcomfort.com, and I'll include that link in the show notes. Welcome, Marti. I'm so glad that you could join with me today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to have this conversation, and the things that we're going to be sharing, I think will help a lot of people. It is normal in our lives to be faced with a situation where we feel, I want to fix it. I want to make it all better, and I can't. And when we're in that situation, sometimes we freeze and we might think, what can I do? And what we're going to talk about today is switching it to what can I do? And that is what makes the difference from feeling helpless to feeling fulfilled. So, Marti, is it okay if we just start with your story of when you felt like, man, I really want to fix this and I can't?
Love that. I'd be honored to. So for me, it was a time in my life that my kids were young and crazy. And I got that dreaded phone call from my mother that she had been diagnosed with cancer. And the worst part about hearing the news is she was thousands of miles away at the time in Canada. Again, I'm living in Florida with these young babies, and I couldn't just jump on a plane as much as I wanted to. But I wanted her to know how much I loved her and cared for her. And I was just gutted. And so I got online, and there were tons of options for flowers and candies and fruit. And while I love all of those things, nothing felt appropriate for this situation. And I thought, what do you send someone who's sick? Chicken soup. I got online, I couldn't find any. And tragically, 6 weeks later, I lost her. And I would literally wake up at night after that, wondering, why isn't there anyone doing this in this space? Like you said so beautifully, I just felt so hopeless. I wanted to do something to be there for her and show her how much I cared. And finally, I just decided that I was going to pour my grief into, at the time, I don't know that I even would have called it a company. And I thought, what better way to honor her than to help others in the same situation that I was in? And so I just started this at home, out of my kitchen and garage company, I guess, Spoonful of Comfort, where I was building care packages and delivering them to people and on behalf of their loved ones who were, I'd say sick, sad, or just having a bad day.
Isn't that beautiful? So you not only tried to deal with your situation, but you found a need. You said, hey, this is something that would have really helped me. Maybe it's something that will help someone else. And what can I do? I can make a care package. I can send something. Even though the care package doesn't solve the problem, it doesn't cure cancer. I mean, nobody's soup is quite that good. But still,
No.
it can help provide comfort and say, I'm thinking about you. I care about you. I love you. And those messages feed our soul, not just our tummy. I love that there's more than one way to do things. And I love that the things that we might be good at might be just the right thing. I have a friend who's really good at making cake. She does wedding cakes and birthday cakes, and they're elaborate and delicious, good combination. And one of
Mm.
her neighbors, his sister passed away in a very tragic circumstance. And she thought that, what can I do? I can't fix it. I can't make it all better. But I know how to make cake. And she made a beautiful cake and she decorated it all her fancy creative ways. And she brought it over to him and rang the doorbell. When he answered the door, he took a look at the cake. He burst into tears. He took the cake
Mm.
and closed the door. And she thought, that did not go the way that I hoped. And she thought, did I cause offense? What have I done? And it was several hours before he called her because he wasn't quite ready to talk to her. But he said, there's something about the way that you chose to decorate this cake, the colors, the theme, the style. It felt like my sister was giving me a message that she was okay. And he said, I felt overwhelmed.
Oh
Thank
my
you
gosh.
so much. And when I heard this story, I thought, wow, I would never have expected that kind of a response from a cake. But I think it's so beautiful. That's, what can I do? It's what really, what do I have to offer? Whether it's words or a cake or a card or some soup. Sometimes our little efforts might be a bigger message than even we intended to give. So I love that. And I love that you have found a niche that works for you. Do you have any stories of people who have just felt that comfort and, I don't know, it made a difference?
So I couldn't believe as you were just telling that story because that was for me, of course, when you start something small, your friends and your family want to be supportive and they would place an order and I would do a delivery. But again, it was all within my inner circle. And on this one day, it was the first time I was delivering an order to somebody I didn't know. And I pack everything up. I'm nervous. I drive to her house and the exact same situation. And I'm just delivering the package on behalf of a loved one of hers. And I go to the door, I ring the bell. She opens the door and is clearly going through treatment, has a headscarf, or I believe it's called a port. Forgive me if it's different. And she looks at me, same thing, bursts into tears. I look at her, I burst into tears. And we sat there and like cried together and I walked away. And I think that was the moment that I was like, okay, validated. Maybe there is a need for this. Maybe other people would want to share this as well. So that was a super powerful moment for me.
And that's beautiful that you got to experience that personally. Now you've grown from far from being able to go door to door, where now you've reached 3 million people and more, and been able to share some comfort and some love. So you have just created something beautiful that obviously there is a need for. Do you want
Yes,
to tell
thank you.
anything
I
about
am.
your growth of your company or what made it go to the next level?
Oh gosh, I have a lot of stories, and I will say something I'm super proud of is still at this size. Sometimes I look around at the number of employees and people here, and I just can't believe that they come here and put as much the same amount of love and care and energy into getting our packages out. And I just hope people know and feel that, we are real people here who really care about them and the recipient and their package and want it to go out the door with the same amount of love as if I were sending it to my own mother. And I'm really humbled and proud of the reviews that we get from everyone as, you know, as a result of that. And yes, this growth journey has been crazy. It's been a roller coaster. It's been ups and downs. And I swear every time I'm kind of like right on that cusp of, should I keep going? Is this too hard? Do I give up? Something like serendipity would just happen, and an opportunity, a door would open to present itself that would just, give us that extra little motivation and bump to get going. And one of these times that things were really, really rough, we early on brought on an operating investor and partner who was a partner of my husband's work, who worked with my husband in another venture. And of course, I thought, this is it. It is going to be sunshine and rainbows from here, where, it's going to be so easy. We've made it. It's going to be great. And of course, it did not quite go that smoothly, and went through some up and down years. And one of the times where I was really contemplating, like, is this irresponsible for my family? Do we need to stop and just all move on? My phone rang and it was Shark Tank. And I thought I was getting pranked. I was like, who's playing a joke on me? This can't be real. Hung up the phone and they called back and we were invited to apply to go on the show. I didn't know that they did that. My first instinct was fear. And I was like, oh my goodness, if you've ever seen the show, that Mr. Wonderful is notoriously, I don't know if nasty's too big a word, but I was so scared, he's going to make me cry on national television and forget it. It's going to be all over. I'm not doing it. And my husband, also one of our, there's three of us partners, is like, this is the best opportunity. We have to do this. We have to try. We have to go on the show. And so we went through this extensive process. It was so nerve-wracking. And the funny part is, I think the only reason I actually went for it is, in my head, I truly believed, by the nature of what we do in our business, we comfort people. We send gifts for people grieving or forget well. There's no way they'll be mean to me on national TV. Well, I was wrong. And it was a humbling experience, and we did not get a deal, and it was not very nice. And of course, walked out sobbing, but gave us that extra little, you know what? We'll show them that there really is something here. People really do want this. There really is a need. We've got this. We can do it. And so that was one of those moments. We didn't know if it was going to air. And then sure enough, that fall they called us and they said, we're going to air your segment on the show. And so we were excited, nervous. One part of me was scared that because we didn't get a deal, our customers wouldn't like us. Because if the Sharks don't like you, then maybe it's bad. And then, so I just didn't know what to expect. But it literally changed our business. People were so lovely and gracious. And the notes and the calls that we would get, like, I can't believe they were so mean to you. We think you're so great. Keep going. We love what you're doing. They were so encouraging. And we started to grow from there. That was a big turning point in our business. And so in our growth paths, that catapulted for sure.
Wow, isn't that fascinating? And it's so interesting that we want to be loved, we want to be valued, we want to be appreciated, but we're not going to get that across the board, no matter what we do, no matter what our motives are, no matter what our actions are. We cannot guarantee 100% positive feedback. And so if we give up the moment that one person says, that's dumb or whatever, then we've missed our opportunity. And there isn't going to be a time where at least one person isn't going to give us some negative feedback. Does that make sense? So I'm,
100%.
I'm proud of you for continuing and moving forward and being courageous and
Oh,
moving forward. And I'm so glad that other people spoke up and reached out to you and said, wow, I love what you're doing. I think this is amazing. Can I be part of this? Whether as a recipient or as an investor, I love it. That's awesome.
it was awesome. Thank you.
Wow, that's beautiful. Okay, so we are sharing, of course, your the website. Is there anything else that
Mhm.
you want to make sure that we cover before we close today? Did you want to share any more of the stories of some of your recipients, or where would you like to go next?
Hmm. Gosh, I have so many stories of the relationships that we build with our customers and the senders and the stories they share with us about their life moments and what they're going through. And I'm just really grateful for not just what we do, but how we've grown our business. And everyone, all of the team here, um, everyone from customer experience through packing out and getting those boxes on the truck. They just, I'm just so proud of that and what we've grown.
That's so beautiful. What a win-win, where it creates a real blessing, really, to the person who wants to send that. In my mind, I'm going back to your story, how you wanted to be able to do something, you wanted to be able to give, and there
Mhm.
wasn't something in place. And so now there is. There's something in place because you created it to help us have one more opportunity to be able to act, to do something. What can I do is where you fit that niche. That's so beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for caring. And it sounds like I don't know the experience because I actually haven't made an order yet. Maybe I need to change that. But it sounds like you're not just clicking on a button saying, this is what I want, but you're having conversations with people. And then
Mhm.
it's almost like a counseling service, like here's what I'm going through, here's where I'm hurting. And there's a listening ear out there that's like, I care. I care about what you're going through. I understand that desire to fix it, to make it all better, to do something about it. So that's quite beautiful. Is that okay? I mean, I mean, is it like a chat box? Are you talking on the phone? How are you
Oh,
hearing
all of
these
it
stories?
on the phone, social media, emails, all of it.
All of the
Hmm.
things. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's lovely. What a beautiful story. All right. In closing, I'd like to share a quote by Maya Angelou. She said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Today, I invite our listeners to do something to lift and comfort others. See you next time on Linda's Corner. Thanks for listening. Please share and subscribe to help us reach new listeners. And if you'd like to heal your life from the inside out, there is a free video series at hopeforhealingfoundation.org. Just click on the free stuff tab. I also invite you to grab a copy of one of my books, like Crushed, A Journey Through Depression, and You Got This, an action plan to calm fear, anxiety, worry, and stress. See you next time on Linda's Corner.